Have you ever wondered what happens to your soul while you sleep? We often limit ourselves to thinking of sleep as merely a moment of rest for the body, a break between a tiring day and another full of obligations. But what if I told you that during this time, when we close our eyes, something much greater happens, something that goes beyond mere physical recovery, touching the deepest dimensions of our existence? What you're about to discover now may surprise you and will make you look at sleep with a new perspective. As a true journey of the soul, silent but full of meaning. If you've ever felt that strange sensation upon waking from a vivid dream, as if you'd visited an unknown place or lived experiences that seemed more real than reality itself, then you've already glimpsed this dimension. Emmanuel, a friendly spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and left us countless spiritual messages, dedicated much of his teachings to explaining precisely these moments when our consciousness disconnects from the physical body but remains active on planes we don't perceive in everyday life. His words invite us to understand that sleep is not a state of emptiness or inactivity, but an opportunity for the soul to free itself, explore, learn, and in a sense evolve. Stay with me until the end, because we'll delve into reflections that, despite their age, remain extremely relevant. Emmanuel shows us that while we sleep, our essence not only rests, but also travels through subtle realms, where everything we feel, think, and learn during the day connects with something greater. This spiritual vision invites us to look at our nights of rest with reverence and attention, realizing that every dream, every strange sensation upon waking, can be a message from our own soul or even from benevolent spirits who accompany, guide, and comfort us. Have you ever experienced those mornings when you wake up with an inexplicable sense of peace, or conversely with a feeling of restlessness, unsure of where it came from? According to Emmanuel, these experiences are not random. They reflect subtle encounters our soul makes while our body rests, interactions with spiritual planes that, even if imperceptible to our physical senses, leave emotional and energetic traces that we carry throughout the day. It's fascinating to think that, while science studies sleep as brainwave cycles, dreams, and memory, spirituality presents us with a dimension where the soul has freedom to move, learn, and even prepare for the challenges that lie ahead. And it's not just about believing, it's about observing, feeling, and allowing yourself to perceive these experiences. Emmanuel guides us with authority. It's offering explanations that harmonize spiritual knowledge with situations anyone can recognize in their daily lives. What he conveys to us is that sleep is a silent gateway to experiences that can transform our way of life, helping us better understand our emotions, our relationships, and even the paths we choose to follow. So imagine for a moment that every night you close your eyes is an opportunity to connect with a reality that goes far beyond what we can touch or see. A reality in which your soul continues to learn, develop, and interact with forces around us, often without us even realizing it. This is exactly what we'll talk about next, exploring what Emmanuel taught us about this mysterious journey of the soul and how these messages, even written decades ago, profoundly apply to the world we live in today. Have you ever imagined that while you sleep, your soul not only rests? This is what Emmanuel reveals to us in his messages, bringing a vision that challenges the way we normally think about sleep. For many, sleep is simply a necessary break for the body, a break between a busy day and the next. But Emmanuel invites us to look deeper, to realize that the night is a unique opportunity for our essence to experience experiences that transcend physical reality, learning, strengthening, and in a way evolving while we are unconscious. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover could change the way you view each night of rest. Emmanuel teaches us that the soul, during sleep, is not limited to the body. It frees itself, visits places the waking mind often cannot comprehend, encounters friendly spirits, receives subtle guidance, revisits important lessons from everyday life. Imagine that every intense dream, every inexplicable sensation upon waking is actually a record of these spiritual experiences that, though silent, shape our energy, our mood, and even our decisions the next day. Have you ever experienced those nights when you wake up with an inexplicable sense of peace or, conversely, with unexplained restlessness? Emmanuel explains that these are signs that our soul has been active, exploring subtle planes and assimilating essential learnings. It's not just imagination or coincidence, but a real movement of our essence, allowing us to grow spiritually, even without our awareness. These teachings, transmitted by Chico Xavier through psychography, show that our inner life is much richer than we imagine, and that each night is a silent invitation to the soul's evolution. Throughout Emmanuel's accounts, we realize that sleep is an opportunity for reconciliation with our own experiences, a time when we can review attitudes, understand feelings, and even receive answers to questions that often remain unanswered during the day. He invites us to pay close attention to our dreams and their subtle signs, as they contain clues about our spiritual progress and how we relate to the world around us. Every detail, every emotion felt during these moments carries valuable lessons that help us better understand who we are and what we are experiencing. And the most fascinating thing is realizing that these experiences don't require prior knowledge of spirituality. Emmanuel explains that the soul naturally seeks learning, balance, and harmony. It interacts with subtle planes, encounters protective spirits, and revisits memories that help strengthen our essence. Anyone, even without experience with spiritual messages, can feel this inner movement, that sudden intuition upon waking, or the vivid recollection of dreams that seem to carry profound meaning. This demonstrates that the soul's journey during sleep is universal, accessible to all, and that each night offers unique opportunities for growth and reflection. Now, imagine that every time you close your eyes, your soul is free to move too. Find answers that the waking mind often cannot reach, and to absorb lessons that go beyond the daily routine. It is precisely at this point that Emmanuel draws our attention. The night is not just rest, but a silent laboratory of spiritual life, where we learn, connect, and prepare for tomorrow. Have you ever stopped to think that what happens while you sleep could be shaping not only your rest, but also your entire life? It's hard to imagine, but Emmanuel, the spirit who worked with Chico Xavier and left us profound teachings about the soul, invites us to reflect on this possibility in a way that completely transforms our outlook on everyday life. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now could change the way you understand your emotions, your relationships, and even the challenges you face every day. While we sleep, our soul doesn't simply rest. It continues learning, assimilating experiences, and interacting with subtle planes that escape physical perception. What Emmanuel teaches us is that these nocturnal journeys directly influence how we feel and how we react to the world around us. Have you ever had those days when you wake up with a strange intuition, a sense of alertness, or an inexplicable peace? According to Emmanuel, all of this can be connected to the experiences our soul experiences while the body is at rest, which end up reflecting on our choices, thoughts, attitudes throughout the day. It's fascinating to think that sleep, something we consider so commonplace, can be a true laboratory for emotional and spiritual growth. Every dream, every intense sensation upon waking is not just a product of the mind. They are subtle signs that the soul is at work, assimilating lessons and preparing us to better deal with fears, anxieties, and everyday challenges.
Damn.
When we understand this dynamic, we begin to realize that our daily relationships and decisions don't occur in isolation. They are influenced by profound processes that occur while we sleep, which can guide us toward paths of greater balance and awareness. Imagine, for a moment, that each night's sleep is an opportunity to work through emotions that seem difficult to understand during the day. What Emmanuel conveys to us is that the soul, even in silence, continues to seek harmony, organizing experiences, and bringing clarity to situations that confuse or disturb us. This vision teaches us that there is no coincidence in the feelings that arise upon waking or in sudden intuitions. They are records of what the soul assimilated. And this shows us how the spiritual world and everyday life are intimately connected, even though we don't always realize it. Have you ever noticed how sometimes small decisions throughout the day seem to have a disproportionate effect on your life? Emmanuel suggests that this is no coincidence, but rather the result of the soul's preparation during sleep. then becomes a space for continuous learning, where we are able to integrate important lessons about patience, compassion, courage, and self-awareness. Understanding this gives us a new perspective on internal conflicts, the anxieties we feel, and how we can deal with the world in a more relaxed and conscious way. And the most impressive thing is that this influence of the soul is not limited to us individually. It affects our interactions with those around us, our professional and family choices, and even how we face unexpected situations. Emmanuel invites us to realize that everyday life is an extension of the journeys our soul undertakes while we sleep. Every awakened emotion, every insight that suddenly arises is an opportunity for transformation, a reminder that even in the silence of the night, we are learning and evolving. Now, imagine the potential we hold when we begin to see our nights of sleep not just as rest, but as moments of profound preparation to live better with more balance, wisdom, and empathy. It is precisely at this point that Emmanuel's message becomes so powerful, leading us to reflect on how we can integrate these teachings into our daily lives, realizing that spirituality is not something distant, but something that directly influences every choice we make. Have you ever stopped to reflect on what it would be like if each night's sleep were more than just rest, but rather a true opportunity for growth for your soul? Imagine for a moment that, while you close your eyes, your essence moves, revisits experiences, absorbs learnings, and connects with planes you can't always perceive while awake. Stay with me until the end, because what you're about to discover now can completely transform the way you approach your nights and even your daily life. Bringing greater awareness and serenity with each dawn, Emmanuel, a spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left us profound teachings about how the soul behaves during sleep, showing that our nighttime journeys are not moments of inactivity, but rather of reflection, learning, and preparation. He reminds us that the soul has its own rhythm, a freedom that transcends the physical body, allowing us to revisit events, absorb experiences, and even connect with beneficial energies that silently guide us. Have you ever experienced those nights when you wake with an inexplicable sense of peace, or, conversely, with an unexplainable restlessness? These are subtle signs that our soul has been at work, processing the day's events and preparing us for the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead. What makes these messages even more powerful is realizing that they aren't restricted to the distant spiritual world. They directly impact how we live, how we relate to others, and how we deal with our own feelings. Emmanuel invites us to observe every emotion, every dream, and every insight that arises, unexpectedly, like a record of the soul's activities during sleep. By doing so, we begin to realize that everyday life and spirituality are deeply connected, and that every small action, every choice, every reflection we have throughout the day can be influenced by these moments of silent learning. Now, imagine creating a simple practice before bed that allows you to consciously connect with this dimension of your soul. It could be a moment of gratitude, a reflection on what you experienced during the day, or even a learning intention for the night. Emmanuel shows us that by establishing this connection, we not only rest better, but also open space for the soul to strengthen, assimilating experiences and preparing us to awaken with greater clarity, balance, and serenity. It's a way to make each night a true encounter with our essence, harnessing the learning potential that sleep offers us in a natural and profound way. Have you ever noticed how sometimes solutions and answers appear suddenly, almost as if they came from somewhere else? It's the influence of the soul working behind the scenes while the body rests. It's helping us reorganize our thoughts, emotions, and decisions. When we understand this, each night's sleep ceases to be just a restful break and becomes an opportunity for personal transformation. It's fascinating to think that, even without realizing it, we are constantly learning, preparing, and evolving. And it is precisely this silent power of sleep that Emmanuel invites us to recognize and value. By allowing ourselves to reflect on our experiences, establish small practices before bed, and observe the soul's signals in action, we begin to live more consciously and connectedly, realizing that each day can be lighter, each challenge better understood, and each relationship more harmonious. This realization opens doors to a deeper life, where serenity and understanding become constant companions, transforming the way we relate to ourselves and the world. If this topic resonates with you, leave a comment below with what resonated with you most, or any experiences you've had related to soul sleep, dreams, or the feeling of intuition that arises upon awakening. Your participation is crucial because it not only helps us create a space for exchange and learning, but also allows others to discover these reflections that can transform the way they view their own nights and their lives. And if you resonated with these words, don't forget to like the video, because each like helps spread these messages, allowing more people access to teachings that can bring comfort, hope, and understanding about the soul and its movement during sleep. Furthermore, by subscribing to the channel, you ensure you won't miss any of these profound reflections, Emmanuel's messages, and the content that explores the spiritual world in a practical and accessible way. Each new subscriber strengthens this community, which grows precisely because of people like you, interested in approaching life with greater awareness, serenity, and sensitivity. When you comment, like, and subscribe, you're helping more people access these ideas, creating a positive impact that goes far beyond the video itself, spreading understanding, reflection, and connection with one's own soul. And you know what's most interesting? It's realizing that, even when we participate in such simple ways as writing a comment or clicking like, we're exercising an energy of exchange and collaboration that also connects with the central purpose of these messages. The soul strengthens, learns, and transforms, and we're part of this movement together. So, if you've felt something awakening within you during what we've discussed so far, share it, because each story, each word you share here makes this space more alive and meaningful, allowing all of us to continue exploring and reflecting on what happens while we sleep, without ever losing that sense of closeness and connection. And now, following this same flow of discovery and reflection, we will continue to understand how to apply these teachings of Emmanuel in practice, making each night and each dream a real opportunity for learning and inner growth. Have you ever wondered what happens to your soul while you sleep? We often think of sleep as simply a necessary interval between a busy day and the next, pause for the body and mind to recharge. But what if I told you that sleep goes far beyond that? That it's a kind of silent portal to experiences our waking consciousness rarely reaches. What you're about to discover may surprise you, because we're about to explore something that blends the massive sensitivity of spirituality with the natural curiosity of those seeking to understand the behind-the-scenes of their own existence, the decisions and impacts that the soul generates while the body rests. Emmanuel, a friendly spirit who worked side by side with Chico Xavier, left us valuable teachings about the soul, its journeys, and its ability to move beyond the physical body during sleep. He spoke not only of ordinary dreams, but of experiences that traverse subtle dimensions, of silent encounters with other consciousnesses, and of revelations that help us better understand who we are, our emotions, and even the choices we make when we are awake. Emmanuel's importance in the context of psychography and spiritual messages lies not only in his role as a guide or mentor, but in the clarity and depth with which he invites us to observe reality from a different perspective, not only the visible, but also that which pulsates behind the scenes of life, in the most subtle layers of our existence. Stay with me for a moment, because this is a reflection that touches the daily lives of each of us. Think of that feeling of waking up after an intense dream, as if you visited an unknown place, as if you've experienced something that seemed more real than life itself. This is precisely where Emmanuel teaches us to pay attention. Our soul, during sleep, frees itself from the body and travels through planes we normally cannot perceive, revisiting experiences, assimilating learnings, and absorbing emotions that we often cannot organize when we are conscious. Each dream, each fragment of memory, or strange sensation upon waking can be interpreted as a piece of this silent journey of the soul, a movement that influences our decisions, our mindset, and even how we react to the challenges of the next day. The curious thing is to realize that, even without realizing it, each night is an opportunity for transformation, Emmanuel invites us to reflect on how our choices and attitudes are shaped not only by what we think or feel during the day, but also by what our soul experiences while our body rests. There is a hidden truth in our nights, that consciousness is not limited to wakefulness, that profound learning occurs while we are seemingly disconnected from the physical world. It's as if each moment of rest is a silent laboratory, where emotions, memories, and experiences are reorganized, directly impacting how we view our relationships, our dreams, and even our very vision of who we are. Now I want to delve even deeper into this subject because understanding the soul's sleep isn't just a matter of spiritual curiosity. It's also a way of understanding how life offers us opportunities for continuous learning, even in moments we consider passive. Imagine that every feeling of restlessness, every awakening with an inexplicable feeling, is actually a record of the work the soul does while free, a kind of preparation for the next day's journey, adjusting our energy, our perception, and even our ability to handle important decisions. It's fascinating to think that the body's rest is intertwined with inner growth, that dreams and nocturnal experiences can bring revelations about ourselves and lead us to a more open, more conscious, and more prepared mindset to face challenges. With serenity, furthermore, reflecting on what Emmanuel has brought us helps us see life as a true journey of evolution. Every emotion we feel, every insight that arises upon waking, every sudden realization about everyday situations can be directly linked to the movement of the soul while we sleep. The practice of observing these signs, of noticing how our nights influence our emotional state, our mental clarity, and even the quality of the decisions we make, reveals a pattern that goes unnoticed by most people but has a transformative effect. It's as if each night offers clues about the path our lives can take, about internal changes that, although subtle, have a profound effect on the way we live and interact with others. And it is precisely at this point that curiosity transforms into understanding, realizing that sleep is not just a physical pause, but an opportunity for learning, revelation, and silent transformation. Allows us to create a more conscious relationship with our own nights and with all that we are capable of experiencing. We begin to realize that each moment of rest carries within it the possibility of valuable insights, which can help us deal with fears, anxieties, and complex decisions, offering clarity on aspects of life that we often consider confusing or out of control. The soul, free to move while we sleep, is constantly in action. And recognizing this is understanding that there is much more happening in our existence than just the visible routine, opening doors to deep reflections on who we are and how we can evolve. Now, if you feel that these ideas are resonating within you, write in the comments, "I'm on this journey too." Have you ever stopped to think that, while your body rests, your soul continues active on a silent journey that traverses dimensions and realities that the waking mind can hardly perceive? Emmanuel, a friendly spirit who worked with Chico Xavier and left us profound teachings about life beyond the physical, shows us that sleep is not just a period of rest, but a moment in which the essence of each of us is freed, circulates through subtle planes, and absorbs lessons that directly influence our daily lives. Stay with me, because what you're about to discover now could completely change the way you perceive your nights, your dreams, and even your own evolution. Imagine that every time you close your eyes, your soul frees itself from the limitations of the body and begins a journey that combines learning, reflection, and experiences that often seem like dreams, but which carry their own reality, a hidden truth that directly affects your inner development. Emmanuel explains that, during this period, the soul has the freedom to revisit memories, analyze decisions, understand emotions, and even prepare for future challenges. It's not just an imaginary journey, it's a real movement occurring behind the scenes of our existence, a silent process that, even invisible to our physical senses, leaves profound marks on our mindset, our choices, and the way we relate to the world. Have you ever had those nights when you wake up with an inexplicable feeling, whether of peace, restlessness, or sudden clarity about something that seemed confusing the day before? These experiences, according to Emmanuel, are signs that the soul has been active, assimilating lessons, absorbing perceptions, and adjusting energies that translate into insights and conscious decisions when we are awake. It's fascinating, too. Think that, while the body sleeps, the mind and soul continue to process information, revealing connections, and bringing to light aspects of ourselves that often remain hidden or repressed in our daily routine. Every dream, every vivid memory, or every inexplicable feeling upon waking can be understood as a record of this soul's journey, a kind of map of the internal transformations that occur beyond the reach of conscious perception. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding this dimension of the soul during sleep helps us realize that there is a continuous interaction between the physical and spiritual worlds. Emmanuel teaches us that the soul not only revisits experiences but also connects with energies, consciousnesses, and learnings that can influence how we view our emotions, our decisions, and even our relationships. Every moment of silent introspection, every dream that seems out of place, carries revelations that allow us to expand our self-perception, reflect on behavioral patterns, and even redefine priorities. The soul in freedom offers us an opportunity for growth that often goes unnoticed because we are focused only on the visible movement of everyday life. The most interesting thing is to realize that these experiences don't require any special preparation or advanced knowledge. Emmanuel shows that the soul, by itself, possesses intelligence, sensitivity, and the capacity for continuous learning. Even people who have never studied spirituality or psychography can feel these effects. A sudden intuition, striking memory upon waking, or even a feeling of clarity and renewed energy are signs that the soul has been at work, silently working, to assimilate experiences and integrate important lessons. It's as if sleep becomes a bridge between what we've experienced and what we still need to understand. A space where our essence organizes feelings, reviews choices, and naturally strengthens emotional and spiritual abilities. And it's not just about individual learning. Soul's freedom during sleep can also indirectly impact how we relate to the world. Decisions that seem banal or mundane can be influenced by this silent activity, as the soul processes information, reorganizes perspectives, prepares us to act with greater awareness and balance. Each dream, even if it seems confusing or disjointed, carries subtle signals about thought patterns, feelings that need to be embraced, or adjustments that can be made to live more fully and connected. It's as if while we sleep, we are undertaking an internal process of self-transformation that is reflected in every aspect of our waking life. Now, imagine that each night is not just rest, but an opportunity for observation, understanding, and preparing the soul for the next day. With each awakening, we bring fragments of this experience, insights that can influence choices, adjust our mindset, and even allow us to act more empathetically, consciously, and centeredly. The feeling of sudden intuition, the vivid memory of dreams, or even the inexplicable peace we sometimes feel upon waking are manifestations of the soul's continuous movement, demonstrating that, even in silence, we are constantly evolving, absorbing lessons and connecting experiences that guide us toward a more conscious life. Now I want to delve even deeper into this topic, exploring how these soul journeys can translate into practical revelations, how every detail perceived during sleep impacts decisions, relationships, and emotions. It's fascinating to think that our daily routines, our worries, and even our creative inspirations may be shaped in this silent space, where subtle learnings are transformed into concrete growth. Each night thus becomes an opportunity to observe the behind-the-scenes of our own existence, to perceive the interplay between body, mind, and soul, and to understand that our essence works incessantly, even when we are not aware of this process. If you feel like this awakens something in you, write in the comments, "This makes sense to me." Have you ever stopped to think that what happens while you sleep can directly influence how you live, feel, and decide the next day? It's a thought that, at first glance, seems far removed from everyday life, almost as if we were talking about something too mystical to have any impact on practical life. But the truth is that Emmanuel, the spirit who worked alongside Chico Xavier and left us profound teachings about the soul, shows exactly the opposite. Sleep, this moment that many consider merely physical rest, is actually a space for learning, reflection, and silent transformation. While the body rests, the soul is in motion, absorbing experiences, revisiting emotions, and preparing the mind and heart to face the challenges of the next day with greater balance, clarity, and perception. Stay with me a little longer, because this perspective completely changes how we understand the small and large decisions we make daily. Think about those mornings when you wake with an unexpected intuition, a sense of alertness, or a sudden peace that seems to come from nowhere. Emmanuel teaches us that these silent responses are direct reflections of the soul's activity during sleep. Every processed emotion, every unexpected insight, or even the resolution of issues that seemed complex during the day are the result of this profound movement of essence. This hidden journey that takes place behind the scenes of our lives. It's as if each night were a secret workshop of the mind and soul, where we learn, assimilate, prepare to act more consciously and in alignment with who we truly are. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding this connection helps us see everyday life differently, as a direct reflection of what happens while we are seemingly inert. Emmanuel shows that, even in moments of silence or apparent inactivity, the soul works intensely to balance feelings, reorganize thoughts, and promote transformations that may seem subtle but have a profound impact on how we deal with fears, anxieties, dreams, and relationships. When we understand this dynamic, we realize that the obstacles we face throughout the day do not arise in isolation, but are part of a continuous learning process, in which our essence guides us along paths that allow us to evolve, albeit slowly. It's fascinating to think that the simple act of sleeping, of allowing yourself to rest, becomes an opportunity for self-transformation. Each night is a silent laboratory where a hidden truth about our emotions, our attitudes, and how we relate to the world is revealed. Imagine, for example, that feeling of restlessness upon waking, or that vivid dream that seems out of context, are actually offering revelations about behavior patterns you can adjust, decisions you need to rethink, or lessons you haven't yet fully assimilated. The soul uses sleep to create these connections, move energies, prepare the mind to face situations with greater serenity and awareness. And it's not just a matter of introspection or distant philosophy. This understanding has direct application in our daily lives, in our interactions with others, and in how we face our own limits and challenges. By realizing that the soul remains active, assimilating experiences, and balancing emotions, we begin to look at our choices with more attention and responsibility. Important decisions, reactions to unexpected situations, the way we relate to friends, family, and coworkers, all of this begins to be interpreted in light of this silent movement of the soul. It's as if each night's rest is, in fact, a preparation for living better, more aware of the impact our attitudes and thoughts have on ourselves and the world around us. Furthermore, this perspective invites us to recognize the greater potential each of us carries. Even while we sleep, we are capable of evolving, learning, and transforming ourselves. And this directly reflects the mindset with which we face daily challenges. By becoming more attentive to the signs that arise upon waking, that sense of clarity, that intuition, that unexpected insight, we can realize that the soul's journey is continuous, and that, even in silence, we are constantly absorbing lessons that shape our lives, strengthen our empathy, and help us deal with fears and anxieties in a more relaxed and structured way. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic, because understanding how the soul works behind the scenes of our sleep allows us to see connections that would normally go unnoticed. It's fascinating to think that every choice, every decision, and every emotion can be rooted in moments of reflection and learning that happen when we close our eyes, and that these subtle experiences offer powerful insights into who we are, how we relate to the world, and our potential for internal transformation. By realizing this, we begin to value rest, not just as a physical necessity, but as a powerful tool for evolution. capable of balancing our mind, aligning our emotions, and preparing our essence to face life with greater awareness, lightness, and clarity. If you feel like this idea awakens something in you, write in the comments, "I'm on this journey too." Have you ever noticed how often a simple act of lying down to sleep can become a transformative moment, capable of connecting you with profound aspects of your own existence? Emmanuel invites us to reflect on sleep not only as physical rest, but as a genuine opportunity for a silent dialogue with our soul, a space where learning, emotions, and experiences are organized, revealing hidden truths that directly impact our waking life. It's fascinating to imagine that even while the body rests, the soul continues to move, simulating lessons that can help us better understand our emotions, make more conscious decisions, and deal with the challenges of the next day with more balance. Each night, then, becomes a kind of invisible behind-the-scenes experience where a journey of self-transformation unfolds that, although silent, has a profound effect on our mindset and the way we perceive the world around us. What Emmanuel teaches us is that we don't need grand rituals or complicated practices to connect with this dimension. A moment of attention, a conscious pause before sleep, is enough to create a bridge between body and soul, between the visible and the subtle. Have you ever experienced those nights when vivid dreams seem to bring messages, warnings, or insights that you can't rationally explain? These moments indicate that the soul is at work, working silently to organize experiences, balance emotions, and offer clues on how we can act with greater serenity and clarity. It's as if each rest is a natural preparation, almost imperceptible, but with a profound impact, influencing our attitudes, our relationships, and even our perception of ourselves. Now, I want to delve even deeper into this topic because understanding this dynamic leads us to realize that soul sleep is not something distant or abstract. It is fully connected to everyday life, to the choices we make, to seemingly trivial decisions, and even to our reactions to unexpected situations. By observing this silent movement, we begin to notice patterns, to understand how certain fears or anxieties transform into learning experiences, and how small reflections before bed can create significant changes in our mindset. The practice of thinking mindfully, mentally reviewing the day, and embracing feelings and experiences serves as an invitation to internal transformation, paving the way for the soul to act even more harmoniously, influencing the way we live and relate to the world. It's remarkable to consider that, even when we feel tired or distracted, the soul continues its journey, working silently, assimilating information, and preparing us to awaken with a clearer perception connected to what truly matters. Emmanuel reminds us that every emotion, every intuition, and every insight that emerges unexpectedly can be the fruit of this deep work, a manifestation of the soul's impact on our mindset and our choices. When we begin to recognize this connection, each night's sleep ceases to be merely a physical pause and becomes a moment of learning, revelation, and evolution, capable of gradually transforming the way we face challenges, deal with fears, and cultivate our relationships. And there's immense beauty in this simplicity. Small practices before bed can create a direct connection with this dimension of the soul. A moment of reflection on gratitude, a conscious thought about what you want to learn or improve, or even visualizing a state of peace and harmony allows the soul to move more freely, absorbing lessons and aligning energies that will manifest the following day. This connection creates a real impact because it helps us live with greater serenity, awareness, and clarity, transforming what could otherwise be routine into a profound experience of self-knowledge and continuous evolution. By internalizing these ideas, we begin to understand that there are no wasted moments. Each night holds the potential for revelations and opportunities for growth. Each rest is a chance to reorganize thoughts, integrate learnings, and prepare the mind to face challenges with more balance. And it is precisely this realization that invites us to look at life with more empathy, to recognize our capacity for evolution, and to value each moment of rest as a powerful tool for transformation. Now, if you feel that these reflections are touching something in you, write in the comments, I'm on this journey too. If you've made it this far, I'd like to thank you from the bottom of my heart for following this reflection with me. If everything we've said resonated with you in any way, subscribe to the channel to continue receiving content that explores the movement of the soul, Emmanuel's messages and reflections that truly make a difference in our daily lives. And take the opportunity to leave a comment saying something like, "I'm with you until the end," or "This message was for me," so we can feel the connection that was formed here and inspire others who are seeking the same. If you've noticed any insight or felt something special during the video, give it a like too. More than just a number, it represents the impact of this message and strengthens this community of people who want to live with greater awareness and serenity. And look, there's a video right here that complements this topic. Click and continue with me there, because the journey of discovery about the soul and its experiences doesn't have to stop here. And each step can bring new revelations that will touch your life even more profoundly.